Lindsay, mate, just a quick one. Just about to throw this pump together here, mate. We're doing for Sooty, of course. So we've got a 1.8Z early, mate. 8360 come in. Now, Sooty sent it up, mate. Wants an 11mm 1.8Z done. Boost compensated, of course. Yeah, I swear we've done heaps of 1.8Z dual stage, single, flat top. Heavily modified calibrations over the years, Lindsay, on 11mm 1.8Z. I just don't think we've actually shown you the ins and outs of it. So, hey, I was just about to stick this head all on here, mate, and start doing the aneroid. And then I realised, you know what, Lindsay? I'm actually doing a Tillix, probably a Tillix light, in between a Tillix medium calibration for this 1.8Z 11mm for Sooty. So, Lindsay, why not? It'd be the right thing to do. I'll quickly show you through it. So, we'll keep it under a beer, mate. We'd have to. Getting late. Wouldn't mind going to bed. Anyway, hey, 11mm. So, straight away, Lindsay, we can see it's a Zexcel stamping. So, we've got a Zexcel 11mm head because, myth of the matter, yeah, everyone says Denso make an 11mm. Well, they don't. It's that simple. Don't make it in a 6-cylinder. They don't make it in a 4-cylinder. Like this 5L we got over here. We've got a 5L 11mm done. Actually, sorry, this is a 3L 11mm. 5L's yet to be done. This 3L 11mm we got going on here. Again, Zexcel head, because the head options for that is either 10 or 12 from Denso. So we want to do like I said, a 3L 11mm 130cc pump. It's got a Zexcel 4-cylinder head in it, where the 6-cylinder version of an 11mm for a Denso pump, so a 1.8Z, we go and grab a TD 42 head. Lindsay, your favourite. Have to be, wouldn't it? So that's just a hydraulic head that gets used. It's the hydraulic head, not the TI. So when I say hydraulic timing, I'm talking about here for the TD side of things. We go and use a hydraulic 11mm head. I'll measure it up for you, mate, so you can understand it and see it for yourselves. So we got a 11, 10.99. It's 11mm every day of the week. So that's 11mm head and rotor. 6-cylinder. And it is a Zexcel head. That's the only Zexcel component that really gets fitted to make a 1.8Z 11mm, mate. Apart from, look, you can do, depends on who builds it, whatnot. You can run the same plunger springs that a 1.8Z does. You can go and run Zexcel. You can change it all up. Does not matter. If you've done the R&D and you know it works and you know it lasts and you're happy with it, that side of things doesn't matter. But back to the basics, the 11mm head and rotor is out of a TD42 pump. Lindsay, your favourite engine, is it not? Let's take a look here. Of course it is. So, anyway, that's for Sooty's 11mm. It's going to run an Arashi turbo. But he wants us to limit it in the aneroid, Lindsay. So this is where we come over here. That basics aside, yes, 11mm head. Everyone understands 11mm head going into a 1.8Z pump. But what Sooty wants us to do, mate, is he said, Josh, we need you guys to limit this pump for the interim because I'm going to change turbos out, run intercoolers later. So I want you to limit the pin in horsepower. And that's the best way to do it, Lindsay. You see, you can't really effectively do it the other way by putting shims back into a calibration of a pump once it's been built on an engine, for example. So let's say you get a pump shop to do your 250 horsepower pump, and then you fit it up and you've got a green wheel turbo and it's just too much fuel for it. You can, and of course you can go to a dyno, and Lindsay will do his goddamn best to try and shim that pump back to make the green wheel turbo, for example, run correctly and the right AFRs and the right horsepower. But what that's really doing, if it was being calibrated from a pump shop for, say, 250 horsepower top fuel, and then you go and limit the load that this pin is doing. So if we go and change the stroke here of where that load is by putting a whole heap of shims back into it, that effectively actually mucks with the dynamic timing of the fuel pump, because the load that's been calibrated for that pump, for example, has been calibrated full throttle with all the boost onto it. And let's say it had 2 shims in there to be, say, 150 cc's of fuel. And then later on, 6 months down the track, we sort of want to change our mind, want to drop the whole engine's horsepower down to, say, 180. Yes, it can be done. Anyone with a trained eye can do it easily enough, but what it actually ends up doing for the pump internals, which, hey, Lindsay, we might not know what it actually does. If we affect the load too much, now when I say load, I mean load on the fuel pump. If we affect that load too much, so look, putting a shim into it here and there and knocking a bit of main fuel out of it ain't going to hurt it. It's not going to change the load of the pump. But if we want to go and derate a 150cc pump back to 100 cc's, without understanding what it's doing, yes, you'll make the horsepower you want. You'll knock your horsepower down. But what's going to happen to the pump is the whole load sense dynamic timing of that fuel pump is going to be upset and affected. And we are literally going to have huge amount of case pressure, huge amount of timing. It's actually going to damage the engine in the short term, because we have literally just got a too big a pump to be limiting down to that lower horsepower. So back on topic here, Lindsay. Got a little bit off topic there, but I'm just trying to, I see it a lot. Engines getting destroyed, cracking pistons, big end bearings turning to cheese. And you get the pump in here and you realise, oh, okay, well, look, the pump was built back in the day for sort of 160 cc's of fuel, and then we flow it over here, and we actually realise it's only doing 110. Yeah, well, that's why the timing was through the roof, and that's why the pressure was through the roof, is we can't go limiting them back too much. Do about 10%, limiting them back. But the best way is what Sooty wants us to do here, Lindsay. So he wants us to shim the aneroid back, calibrate the pump for 85 cc's of top fuel here on your pin, and then at a later date, he wants to be able to remove the shims and flow up to, say, 130 cc's of fuel. Now, that is the best way to do it, because that is increasing the load. We ain't decreasing the load that way. We're increasing the load. So it will load and timing will increase accordingly when you calibrate a load sensing pump correctly. So that's what we're going to do here with the Tilix pin, mate. We're going to shimmer back. Going to throw about 4 of your Stanos in there, I'm guessing, because, it's only our first one we've done, of course, so we already know 4's going to work, Lindsay. I'm going to do about a 60cc no boost here. That no boost been done on the eccentric cam. Come over here to this, like I said, this 3L 11mm we just done. You can get an idea here. We've got a bit of a red and a bit of a blue, so hot and cold is how we work it out. Lindsay, we're just making that easy for you guys, mate. So hot and cold. So you understand where that is, and you know exactly where the hot and cold mark is. You can make no boost adjustments without having to come over here on the pump, lift the lid, get an idea where we're at. Yep, work it all out. Oh, yep, I see where we're at. Put it all back on. We can be making adjustments on the fly in the vehicle if we need to change any no boost rates. So, yeah, hot and cold. So we'll set that up for Sooty, of course. Hot and cold on his no boost rates. And that's going to be on the top of your bolt there, mate. Now, interesting, Lindsay, I thought I might quickly show you this, I guess. Sort of running past that time frame of under a beer, but let's just get an idea here, Lindsay. I'm just going to hold this phone up here and show you something. Check it out. All right. Let's get an idea of these pins side by side. Can you see the height difference straight away? Now, what I want to draw your attention to is the height difference, Lindsay, of your pin and the standard 23, which comes fitted to the factory, like I said, Denso aneroid. So, let's come over here. What's that doing? I'll show you. Look, what that does, it drops below our guide height here, mate. And we can take a look. You can see it's below the guide height. So, yeah, that's fine if I only want mild fuel. Not going to use the full potential of that pin. But do keep in mind, this is a fuel turn-off pin, as you can see, Lindsay. So, yep, it comes down, and actually turns into a fuel turn-off. Most Denso pins will do that. Safety feature, of course. So, for us to utilise that pin, Lindsay, in this aneroid, we've got to get the Hitachi angle grinder out, which is no big deal. We're effectively going to make that pin look like yours, of course, with the grinder. And we're pretty deadly on the freaking grinder, mate. So, we can make it look damn near, well, perfect. But we can go to all that effort, and then we've got to realise that, guess what? We can't utilise the pin's full potential because, look, it's dropping below the guide height. So then we've got to shim it up with washers, and we don't like doing that because it runs out of thread. So Lindsay, for this particular setup, we're just going to get rid of that pin because it's not applicable for this job. Don't get me wrong, that pin was applicable for this job, but it's a complete different calibration, complete different pump. So again, 1AZ 11mm versus a 3L 11mm. We could use that one fine. Now this one here, but Lindsay, let's drop the Burrows pin in. Look at that. Let's get an idea here. It's actually a little bit proud. It's actually slightly proud of that guide height. Now that's perfect because that's what we want. We're going to be using the full potential of your pin here eventually when it comes time for Sooty to open it up. We know it's going to get full potential of that pin. I'm going to be doing huge guide pin aneroid modifications here, but we do know we're going to get full stroke on our aneroid adjustment with your pin calibrated for that aneroid. All right, that's kept it pretty simple, I guess. Back to the springs, but Lindsay, I just don't know yet, mate. Like I said, any guys don't understand Lindsay's pins. He's got hards, he's got mediums, he's got softs. But what I got here is I got a medium and a soft because I'm not too sure which one we're going to use yet. So that's the genuine Denso one that comes fitted in that aneroid. A little bit torn between the two. We don't know until we get into the test bench course and calibrate it up to Sooty's turbo, which one's going to work. But probably going to be throwing a medium in. If not, we might stiffen up the Denso spring yet, Lindsay, because I don't know if you know, but the Denso spring, mate, it's actually in between your light and your medium. So the Denso spring's got a real good rate on it, but we can see, if I get in here, you can see the height profile slightly different. So may need to stretch that one yet if I want to get me no boost out of it. But anyway, we'll see where that comes out and calibrate around that. Might even end up running your soft and just will increase the star wheel. So just jack the star wheel up pretty hard, of course, here. Screw the star wheel up. You can see the star wheel coming up there. Make that nice and high, I guess. But your soft springs, mate, they compress pretty good, as you can see. They compress nice below the guide, so it allows that pin to have full travel. Anyway, that'll be another day. We might even do a calibration with the Sooty 11mm Lindsay when it comes time to throw it in the test bench, I guess. We could do. But no, we've done heaps of calibrations on 11mm. It's just getting boring now. So, hence why I thought I'd show you through the ins and outs, mate. What the actual physical difference is in between a few pins, basic setups, measurements, 11mm heads and rotors. Yeah, the ins and outs a little bit more intricate, mate. Righto, like I said, Lindsay, nothing gets used in this shop, mate, but the 0.5s. Hey, nothing. Friggin' awesome shim, mate. So we'll stack them in there for Sooty, and he can remove them as need be at a later date. And like I said, the pump will increase the timing. It won't go the other way when we try and limit it back from a set calibration. It's actually the wrong way to do it. Within reason. Righto. Hey, very good. Lindsay, on that note, I'm out. See you, mate.